just
Yeah, what
handed
are
it off.
your opinions on meth, Al?
There's no way to segue from that. News, rumors, and meth.
Rumors and meth. Well, according to Daddy Meltzer, both Sheamus and Xavier Woods are expected to be back over the next couple of weeks. So maybe the Rumble. Who knows?
Who was coming back in the next couple of weeks?
Sheamus and Xavier?
Xavier.
Xavier came back on Raw last week.
That's true. Well, Sheamus also.
Sheamus needs an IC title run. I don't care.
Dude, I like he could retire in a month, and as long as he wins that title first, I'm happy.
Yeah.
I love his character only for the fact is he is one of the few people left in wrestling that actually incorporates into his storyline that he is fighting for the Grand Slam championship. It's like him and the Miz has done it too, but nobody does that anymore until like they actually win it. You never see a build up to it, and that's been Sheamus's main thing for like 2 or 3 years, and it's revitalized his career.
Yep.
Agreed.
Next, in awesome news, PW Insider says Sonya Deville has been at the Performance Center recently training and getting ready for her return. Yes, I can't wait to see her back. She's amazing and beautiful and all the things.
Definitely one of the most improved in the women's division
for sure
in years, I would say.
Agreed. She had a solid run with those when she was involved in that tag team division and everything. Like, I think she is a vital missing piece. The switchover, I preferred her as a worker than I did as a manager anyways. She was always better. So that was an easy switch for her to go back into being an in-ring worker versus an authority figure.
I always wish they had done more too with the breakup of her and Mandy, because Sonya was really picking up steam as a heel around then too.
Yeah. Agreed.
In addition to Okada, Tama Tonga will be leaving New Japan. Several other foreigners are looking at doing that as well because of the huge discrepancy in pay between New Japan with WWE and AEW.
Go where the money's at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you're not going to pay them, like, what are you doing?
I've told everybody that. If you feel like you're being underpaid at any job, locally, up to that, you've got to go where the money's at. You got to go where you're going to go to support yourself and your life and your family.
No, agreed.
1000% agreed.
Facts.
Sucks that New Japan is getting that UFC kind of reputation of making a ton of money but not paying their talent well, though, because we've heard it with Tama. Okada's pretty much made it all but apparent he's chasing a check at this point in his career. And a few of the other guys, Will Ospreay's getting a pay raise to come to the States. So it's like Kenny Omega, the young, like the list keeps going of the guys that have jumped. Yeah.
And then you've got guys like Suzuki and Ishii who are working both New Japan and the States. And I've got to imagine that's just to be able to make the kind of money that other pro wrestlers are making in other companies too.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But that could all change though with Tanahashi as president.
True.
Yeah, we're really only in the beginning of it.
Right.
President Tana, why he holds the TV title.
I was gonna say, look at what a year and a half of Triple H being in charge of WWE has done. It's entirely possible. Scott D'Amore with TNA. Nothing's really set in stone, I feel like, when it comes to companies when they're struggling or not anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
If TNA can come back, anybody can come back, except maybe WCW.
Global Force Wrestling is making a return, so that tells you anything is possible in wrestling.
I miss being able to invest in gold.
You're such a great salesman.
In addition to not being on Elimination Chamber next month in Australia, Dave Meltzer said on Wrestling Observer Radio that Roman Reigns isn't going to work Backlash in France either. Meltzer believes Reigns' upcoming PLE schedule is Rumble, Mania, a Summer Saudi show, and SummerSlam.
Okay.
Do we think that schedule means he's going to hold that belt until SummerSlam then?
I genuinely don't think so this time.
Okay.
I even going into Mania last year, I said that Cody winning made the most sense, but I would have understood why they would have had Roman win last year just because of the 1,000 days. I think if they try and do the same thing this year, I don't think it's going to end well numbers wise for them. I think they've got a lot of potential at this Mania being one of the best ones possibly ever right now with the possible buildups that they have.
Mhm.
I don't think they should take the chance, and I think it'd be the perfect time to end the Reign of Reigns. Ooh, like that Reign of Reigns.
That's a
The-
good one.
The
That's,
Reign of
good.
Reigns.
That's a shirt right there.
That's a shirt.
It is. The Roman Reigns era is over, dead. It's like you go to the party and the same guy, like you have your same circle of friends, but that one friend says the same joke every time. Okay, I'm just I don't. Who cares? Like that's another one. Who cares if he passes Hogan? He's got to hold it for a lot longer than SummerSlam to pass Hogan's collective.
Yeah, I think he has to hold it until about September in
Yeah,
order to pass Hogan.
Really?
Oh,
Um,
God, no.
And also another thing that Roman losing sets up really well that not a lot of people talk about. I've seen it talked about a couple times. You have Roman lose the title, you then easily can start building up to a massive babyface turn for him that will actually work with the fans this time if he keeps the
Facts.
tribal chief gimmick, but turns it kind of around similar to not the exact mannerisms of The Rock, but you go from the heel to being the people's guy.
Right.
I more than anything, like this heel run has been great, but what I've been waiting for is what's going to be a massive babyface turn for him, and they're going to get the babyface Roman Reigns that they wanted last time, and I think that's going to set up the final run of his full-time career.
Right.
No.
I mean, they already kind of you see it too, because like when he does the whole acknowledge me, it's the same thing as like when Mankind shows up
Yeah.
and says the whole, it's like
He's slowly starting to feed to the
they're
crowd.
right. It's like it's in the in between factor now.
And that big match with either Cody or The Rock or whoever it is, that's what you're kind of getting towards when Rock was kind of coming out of like his heel area too, or
Yep.
Hogan with the NWO. I think it's only a matter of time, and I think it's going to do even bigger. I think Reigns is going to do even bigger numbers as a babyface for them this time.
Facts.
I just don't think he needs the belt anymore to be over.
No, agreed.
No.
He's a legend at this point, and I never thought I'd say that about him. He is a legend at this point.
Earlier this week, AEW wrestler Chris Jericho filed a trademark for the phrase "seek and destroy," which is it's an Iggy Pop song. But yes, I'm curious how he's going to use that.
Wasn't that also the name of Sting's old theme music too? By what was it
Metallica did a cover of it. Yeah,
Metallica, and way back in his career, he came out to Seek and Destroy by Metallica.
correct.
Yeah. Originally Iggy Pop, but yes.
I mean, Chris Jericho is in this band, this cover band called Fozzy, isn't it? Isn't that what it? Like, doesn't he really have like a cover band? Like,
Oh,
Oh.
Where'd you go, Jax?
Just is gone.
just left. I'm sorry, Jack.
Sting's about to appear behind him
What
and
in the
just take
world
him
is
out.
happening?
Oh no!
No, I'm gone.
Poe is gone.
Can you still hear
Ah!
me?
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, there I am.
Jax is back.
Hello.
Gus, where'd you go?
Dude, Fozzy like that. You want to know what Fozzy's good for, Sean? A fucking bear.
That's not true. They're also good for making theme musics for TNA pay-per-views.
True.
Yeah, Enemy was probably their best song ever.
Oh,
You should-
dude, honestly, I
You
love
should have
it.
retired after that.
Old Fozzy was great. Besides Judas, I'm not a huge fan of current day Fozzy, but old Fozzy back in like the mid thousands was great. I've been watching TNA while I've been doing work at home lately, and I watched that Bound for Glory, and I was like, oh, there's Chris Jericho's one basic appearance in TNA ever.
Speaking of TNA, TNA had its largest gate in 10 years last Saturday for Hard to Kill in Las Vegas, according to PW Insider. The site also said Sunday's show had the former Impact's best live TV gate, at least since Anthem bought the promotion in 2017, and possibly ever.
Hell yeah.
That's what we need. Stuff that's good for business.
Mhm.
Right.
I want TNA. I love AEW too, don't get me wrong, but I want TNA to take that number 2 spot one day so bad.
From what I was told from my buddy Ryan, this past weekend in Florida, there was a pretty fucking massive crowd for TNA.
Good. That makes my heart happy, legitimately.
Ash by Elegance is Sean's new buddy.
Well, you call your new buddy and you tell her the Ginger Ninja said change her stupid name.
Dude, that name is terrible. She's amazing, but that name is terrible.
I wouldn't even go so far as to say amazing. Dana Brooke is adequate.
Give her
Yeah.
flowers though. In ring wise, she got a hell of a lot better towards the end of her time with WWE. They just
She did step up, I will say.
Yes.
They consistently saddled her with a shit gimmick.
Agreed. I will give you that. She did learn how to work. Scal said, "Is that Sean's new simp target?"
Following the recent TNA debut of AJ Francis, formerly known as Top Dollar, it was mentioned that one of the reasons why he failed in WWE is because he did have some very powerful enemies behind the scenes. I'm not really sure who would be his enemy. Like they had him when he was in NXT, he was the host of the WWE Treasure Show.
The
for
Treasures,
first
yeah.
I can't imagine other than Vince McMahon, what enemies he might have.
I think he was on the bump a lot too. He was doing
Yeah,
a
he
lot
was.
of
Yeah.
he was doing a lot of social media stuff for them before he ever even debuted in NXT.
hmm
Yep.
I'll
Look,
give him
like-
this. He is the best Cheez-Its champion, though.
He is.
Top Jesus champion of all
Top-
time.
Well,
yeah, he
it
was
wasn't-
doing all the stuff that Miz used to do, when he first started. All the
Mhm.
outside the
Oh,
stuff,
like the
all-
Diva Search.
the Diva
Yeah.
Search, just doing the small little stuff with the fans. He was in line for doing all that stuff.
Remember when
I don't
Miz had
know.
to write? Remember when Miz had to write that phone number on his hand and messed it up on TV,
Yeah.
even though he's reading it off his hand, he
Yeah.
still messed it up.
So
To what Sean said, Top Dollar just talking out of his ass. It wasn't Top Dollar who said it. It was Meltzer who said
yeah,
it. So,
that's who's talking out of his ass right there.
yeah.
That's a normal day.
Right.
It's just today.
I'd like to see if he does better in TNA now too. Now that he's gotten his health issues taken care of, because from what I've read, that whole missing the top rope thing actually saved his life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So there was speculation that we might see Gunther versus Brock for WrestleMania. Honestly, I'm not mad at that.
No.
No,
I- It would be
No.
a bang.
I love it based on the fact that we're getting to an era now where Brock is not consistently competing for top titles anymore, but he looks like he's having fun doing so.
Yeah.
He's putting people over doing so, and I think Brock being the one to beat Gunther for the title just kind of proves that nobody else but a Brock Lesnar could do it. Gunther then moves on to the world title scene, and Brock immediately elevates the IC title.
Yeah. And this all what started them. Their actual, you could build this all the way back to Rumble in San Antonio, where they
Mhm.
stood face to face in the ring. And someone who was there, that place came unglued just imagining what was going to happen.
And they were smart, mostly keeping them apart during that match too, except for those couple blows. That was
Right.
very smart on their part.
No, agree. To what AJ says, do we see? Oh, do y'all think we see Omos in the Rumble?
Of course.
God willing, you know.
They should do something with him.
Triple H did say that he wanted to use Omos more of a what's the word?
Attraction.
A spectacle, an attraction.
Attraction.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, they were going to book him more for pay-per-views and PLEs because Triple H. And one thing I love about Trips, man, is that old school heart he has, where he thinks a big man like Omos doesn't have to wrestle every time they're on
Yes.
TV.
Yes.
Save him, make him important, make it a big deal that he comes out and challenges somebody.
Mhm.
Don't just
Right.
force him down our throats the way he was being forced
Right.
down a year and a half ago.
And with big
Right.
guys like that too, they tend to have more health problems later on in their career. So not using them that much really ultimately saves the wrestler when it comes to their health too. I'd say give him the same treatment that early day heel Great Khali got, because Khali, we all know he really couldn't work in the ring super well, but that was kept hidden because of them using him like an attraction. He was
Right.
able to have a whole world title reign, and they were still able to hide how green he was based on the whole using him as an attraction thing. Same idea as Andre back when Andre was wrestling. Use
Yeah.
him like that, and he can be extremely successful.
No.
Yeah, I was just gonna touch on that. That's exactly what they did with Andre the Giant. They just kept him, in the back. They never really had him until special events, So, yeah, Omos, man.
Oh yeah.
I love that run that he had with AJ Styles too when they were tag team champions.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that was a lot of fun to watch. That
Yep.
big brother, little brother thing they had going on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I was among the minority that actually genuinely enjoyed the match with him and Lesnar at Mania too. I wasn't thrilled about it when they booked it, but they over delivered what people thought they were going to be able to.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. And then him and Rollins at Backlash.
Oh,
right
that was a
afterwards.
great match.
Yeah, agreed.
During a live stream on Twitch recently, Dakota Kai told fans she's yet to receive medical clearance, despite how well she's moving around these days.
Take your
I kinda
time.
forgot
Right.
she was injured. I thought she was just being a manager at this point. If we're going to be honest, I forgot she got hurt.
I remembered her hurting her knee again, but with the amount of injuries she's had, she's really got to she needs to be 100% before she comes back.
Mhm.
Her career, as young as it is, as many
Mhm.
gaps as she has due to injury, she can't take very many more,
Yeah.
or she'll just get lost in the shuffle. She gets real close to getting over, and then she gets hurt, and real
Same
close to
thing.
getting over. It's who it reminds me of? Ahmed Johnson.
I was going to say Tegan Knox. She's got
Yeah.
the same thing going on too.
Uh-huh. Think about Ahmed though, Josh. You're
Yeah.
laughing. Think about Ahmed.
I
and
know,
the
but like
Nation
that
domination.
was just not the comparison that came
Yeah.
out of my head. But
Ahmed was on his way to being top guy.
Yeah, and if it wasn't
knees
in his back, dude could have been a world champion. And I feel like Dakota Kai and Tegan Knox both fall in that same that same area, is the fact that they slowly start real close to being real fucking big for them, and then something will happen and they'll have to take 2 steps back, and that
Facts.
sucks.
We're seeing the same thing with
Magnum TA was the same way. Magnum
Yep.
TA,
we're seeing
had a
the
lot
same
of
thing
injuries.
with Cora Jade and NXT right now too.
Bingo. Cora Jade just took a hard hit, tearing
Yeah,
her ACL.
she's
again.
out for probably about a year now,
Yeah.
and she just came back like
Yeah.
a month ago.
Crazy. Again, Dave Meltzer said on his podcast that he was recently in LA to be interviewed for Netflix's Vince McMahon documentary series. He said it will cover everything, and that McMahon himself has been interviewed for it. Meltzer also said that the show is going to be out sooner than you think.
They've been talking about this Netflix thing for a long time, and I'm at the point where I'm just like, okay, I'll see it when I believe it.
Can I be honest with you guys?
Mhm.
The fact that Vince is involved, you know what that says to me? Fluff piece.
Mhm.
Vince isn't going to be a part of anything that makes him look negative in any light. The fact that Vince is involved says to me this is going to be some fluff piece to kind of like regain him some traction because of all the negative publicity he's got. But Vince wouldn't do Dark Side of the Ring because the negativity it shined on him in the wrestling promotion. So the fact that Vince is involved says to me that I don't think this is going to be the Dark Side of the Ring that we were all hoping it was going to be. Because if he's talking, then he's not going to bury himself.
No.
Right.
Unless we get a Tiger King situation.
Oh,
Where
that would be cool.
Everyone in Tiger King was promised that it was going to be portrayed like the Black Whale documentary,
Yeah.
and then they turned it on its head under everyone's nose once interviews were done filming.
Wow.
I think that Larry Divot, Vince's attorney, would own Netflix. If
Oh,
they
yeah,
tried to
right,
pull
you're
some
right.
shenanigans
Keep-
like that on Vince.
Keep forgetting about that guy.
Yeah, you remember he's the guy who beat the federal government.
Yep.
I don't think them pulling some shenanigans on the backside of it's a bad idea. I mean, the magic of television is you do the interviews, and then you can cut that and make them say whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
My editor has done some ridiculous shit with editing, like making people like taking sentences and putting them out of order and shit, and he can make sentences
Mhm.
without them actually saying it, just by cutting individual keystrokes and frames out. What people can do with editing is wild. So
True.
they could pull a fast one. What's up, JJ? It's good to see you.
JJ, what's good?
Charlotte Flair pushed for WWE to sign Andrade per Fightful. In the same report, the site notes that prior to his departure, Andrade pushed Tony Khan to bring Flair into AEW. So it's Andrade's fault that we have Flair on our TVs.
Who knew Andrade had all that push in AEW? He had all that clearance, you know.
Yeah.
He's got pulled for days, apparently.
Right.
But
Hey.
then he says, okay, you're stuck with my father-in-law. Peace out, guys.
Your problem now.
For real.
That was a way to keep him coming back to WWE, Scouts.
Right,
That's the stipulation. They offered him a 10% increase on his pay if he could convince Rick to go to AEW.
It was actually Charlotte's doing, so her dad wouldn't do any more intros for her on there. Because you ever notice anytime he did one of those intros for his daughter, she always looked so
Yup.
embarrassed every
Yup.
time she came out, and then she would always, yeah, exactly. And then if you notice, she would always walk up to him and whisper something, and it was almost looking like she was saying, "Dad, like, get the hell out of here."
Right.
This was sent in by our unofficial EVP of Rivet City Radio. In a recent interview, NWA lead announcer Joe Galley misspoke in stating that the NWA's as yet unnamed and unscripted show would air on the CW Network's broadcast channel. Rather, the same unscripted effort will soon premiere on the CW streaming platform, which notably will also exclusively host future episodes of NWA Power starting February 6th. The CW, yeah, it's just free, yeah, blah, blah, blah. So, what do y'all think? Are y'all going to watch the NWA reality show?
Yes.
Well, I know you will.
I was gonna say, so Will kind of has no choice at this point.
I say why not? You know what I'm saying? Why not? Give it a chance. You know what I'm saying? It's not hurting anybody to check it out, you know. So
Yeah, 9 times out of 10, I'll check out if there's something in wrestling. I'll check out the first of
Dad hat?
anything,
What's up,
and then
Dad?
if it's worth it, I keep going. If it's not, I let
Right.
him take care of it, and he can tell me about it.
That's how we divide it up in one of the group threads is like Alex will watch the stuff nobody else wants to watch, and I watch NWA, and Lee does his thing, and it's like we all come together so that way we can inform each other, so without having to go through the monotony of watching the other shit we don't
Right.
like.
Right,
No, that's
like
smart.
you're usually the
That's
NWA guy. Justin and I are like the TNA guys. Kyle and RN are like the AEW guys, and then Lee's over there with WWE.
And then I come in once a month to say something shady, and then I go back to
Yep, she either comes in,
muting the-
she comes in and does one of 3 things: says something shady, throws a shot at one of us, or asks us to come play trivia.
Yeah,
No, the fake Coke scene did apparently no damage in the end, from what everybody said. Like the plans for the TV deal haven't changed since it came out. So apparently, the Father James Mitchell, doing yayo in the middle of a pay-per-view just wasn't that big of a deal, guys.
The hell
I
do we
was
go
like-
in then?
I'm not 100% convinced it was fake.
Those guys had a shit ton of energy for a 4-hour show. I'm just saying.
I'm just I ain't
So
never
you-
seen James Mitchell bounce off the walls like that.
So
Uh-huh.
all you have to do to do Yayo legally on TV or pay-per-view is just say it's not real.
Just pretend that it's fake. It's not. Obviously, we're not really doing coke.
What are
Right,
you
right,
insinuating?
right.
Maybe you're the one doing it.
You're doing
We
coke.
start gaslighting the dirt sheets. It's like maybe you're doing coke. Like,
We're just all collectively gaslighting the CW network.
On a private social media account that House of Wrestling was asked not to share, Keith
Shocker.
Lee wrote, "Took roughly 19 years, but I guess it's my turn. Time to get fixed. Here's to double surgeries. Certainly one way to start 2024." It doesn't say like what the double surgeries are on. I would assume it's his knees.
did you say Keith Lee?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I was
He's-
making sure I heard you correctly.
He's got a leg injury. I do know that much for sure because when they had the, I think it was the press conference after World's End, Tony Khan briefly touched on it, or it's something like that. It was around that time. He briefly touched on it and basically said they had to cancel the match because Keith Lee had a leg injury that he'd been dealing with for almost a year, and it just got worse.
Yeah. And then last thing is Lucha Blog says free agent Black Taurus has agreed to a deal with AEW/Ring of Honor, but it looks like he will have to change his in-ring name.
Mantar.
Mantar, yeah, we already discussed this in the group. Mantar Jr.
Yeah, he's gonna be Mantar Jr. in AEW.
Fucking awesome.
Yeah. So that was what 2 or 3 days ago we made that. It was like a collective decision. We were like, if he can't be Black Taurus, he has to be Mantar.
Yeah, I think it was either you or Justin that broke the news to us, and then me and Lee jumped in immediately.
Just immediately. Mantar. That's it.
Why not? Mantar,
R.I.P.
you know?
Mantar.
I don't know
Yeah.
why not.
Yeah, why not Mantar?
It's still wild to me that Lee got one of the very last interviews done by Mantar before his unfortunate passing. That is wild to me how quickly that all happened in a short time span.
That's like, and it's so weird to have an experience like that. That's like us meeting Jay Briscoe and seeing him wrestle his second to last match the next weekend, him go to Hog, and then what happened. Like
That
that
shows you
why-
anything can happen in a blink of an eye.
Bingo. And it was so fast to the point that when it happened, I came downstairs and looked at Al and was like, showed her the tweet. And she was like, we literally just saw him. Like, and it was just that kind of stuff happens like that, man.
It gives me that same vibe. This isn't necessarily meeting somebody, but that whole WrestleMania 30 weekend with Ultimate Warrior
Yeah.
made his return, went into the Hall of Fame, showed up at Mania, was on Raw on Monday, passed away on Tuesday. Like,
That fast, dude.
wrestling's weird like that too. That kind of stuff happens so much more often than you would think.
Yes.
But anyways, yeah, Mantar for
Mantar.
AEW.
Why can't he use
Black Taurus is owned by AAA.
Just
okay.
the term Taurus is, and so
Yeah.
basically he can't use it in the Black Taurus name.
Gotcha. I didn't know if it was something because
The pronunciation?
I don't know.
He can do what
Uh,
Luchasaurus did and just call himself a dinosaur instead of a lizard, and it gets around all of it.
right.
Interesting.
Valid.
You ready?
I am ready. Please roll my intro.